British cycling has become the latest governing body to bar transgender women from competing in the female category to safeguard the fairness of the sport. So has common sense prevailed? Let's speak now to Kellie-Jay Keen, who is a feminist icon, one of my political heroes, and somebody who stands up for women's biological rights. Hi, Kellie-Jay.
Good evening.
Your reaction to this ruling?
Well, for a start, I'd like to just say they've banned men from women's sports, which, fellas, you're just not wanted. We've been talking about this for a long time, since sort of 2015. This is a thing that brought me into this issue because I had no idea what was going on. But men aren't wanted in women's sports, in elite sports. We don't want them in our changing rooms. We don't want them in our five-a-side. They are just not wanted. Women's sports is not just about podiums. It's about togetherness. It's about team. It's about women. And it certainly isn't about men. So, fellas, could you just leave us alone?
Do you not think, though, that referring to somebody that identifies as female as a fella would be insulting or even offensive?
Not as much as calling them a subset of women, no. And I think actually we just have to go back to what we all know to be true, and we need to stop pandering to their ideology, because the first thing an ideology will want from people that it chooses to oppress and recruit is to take our language. And quite successfully, from your introduction this evening, they've managed that somewhat. So I just think we have to call them men. I frequently call them men and blokes and fellas, like I would any other man.
Emily Bridges, who is a biological male who identifies as female, has condemned British cycling's new policy barring transgender athletes from competing as women. She's called it a violent act and called the governing body a failed organisation. Do you have any sympathy at all?
Absolutely not. I mean, look, there are very young males who have been convinced, sold a lie, that if they say it enough times in the mirror, they will genuinely turn into a woman and they can force everybody else around them to believe it. I think actually once you're a grown-up, you don't get away with that quite so easily. That sort of idiocy that you can really force everybody to just succumb to whatever it is that you say you are. We all learn that as teenagers when we all try to be a little bit better than perhaps we are. So no, I don't really have any sympathy for him. I think he was quite happy to steal the spot of a woman in cycling. So no, time's up. This is ridiculous. We all know that it's ridiculous. And it's about time that sporting bodies did it. They've said elite cycling. I think they really need to keep those men out of women's changing rooms too. And they seem to be a little bit woolly on that. So it's a step in the right direction, but it's not fast enough and it's not far enough as far as I'm concerned.
Do you think this war on woke ideology will be won? Will women get their female-only spaces back? Or are you fighting a losing battle, do you think? What does your gut tell you, Kellie-Jay?
Well, my gut tells me, Mark, and I can clearly see you don't tune into my YouTube, that I actually never lose. So we're at a stage where all we have to do, like there's people that are convinced by woke ideology and stand to gain something from it, goodness knows what. There's the likes of people like myself who know that it's all a load of nonsense. And then there's a lot of people in the middle who have no idea what's going on. And our job as people who know what's going on is to tell the rest of them just exactly what's at stake. And then we know they'll agree with us. So it's simply, you know, bigger battles than this have been won through history, and this is just another one. And the truth, I really do think, will prevail.
Kellie-Jay Keen, a privilege to have you on the show. Do check out her rather brilliant YouTube channel. Very compelling stuff, and she's absolutely right. She never loses.